Okay, so even though I think I talk plenty loud, he told me I have to use this thing. So if I talk with my hands. So if I start pulling it away, somebody tell me. Um, know a lot of you in the room, but for those of you who don't, I'm Dina Mashburn, Regional Vice President of Sales for Calero. And here in just a minute, I'll kind of get into how we came from myself to Calero. But I've worked with many of you for a lot of years. I've been with Compco myself and then its predecessor since 1989. For those of you doing the math, I was 12 at the time. And then, Adam, I'll let you.
Yeah, so I don't think I've met any of you guys. So I'm Adam Blitz. I came in this morning from New York. Dina and I and Randy in the back who just walked in have worked together for many years. I'm the director of our solution consulting team at Calero. So my role is to kind of be more of the technical, consultant, solutioner here with you guys. So as we go through the next few days of, demos and questions here, feel free to kind of stop me along the way and say, hey, wait a minute, we don't really actually do it that way. We want to see it done this way. And we can kind of let you guys steer the way that these next 3 days go. So that's the role that I play here. Randy in the back.
Hi, everyone. Randy Burns, Vice President of Client Success. Many of you in the room I've met and known for a number of years. As Dina mentioned, we were part of CompCo, but she's going to explain how we came together at Calero. But pardon me for being a couple minutes late. I'm glad to be a part of the meeting today.
And as Adam said, if you have questions, you don't have to hold it till the end. Stop us at any time. Of course, we're recording, so kind of wave at me and I'll bring a microphone to you. But any questions? In doing things like this, I think sometimes my biggest fear is you won't like something because maybe it wasn't shown the way you used to, or you misunderstood, or we just didn't show it. So if there's anything you have questions about, please ask us, because I want to make sure that we're all on the same page. Next slide. So how did we get from Microsoft all the way up to Calero? As many of you are aware, in 2010, Compco and Pinnacle merged together. We had similar products. The Pinnacle product was much newer, had much more functionality. The Microsoft product, actually the product you're using today, was released in 1998. So development began 95, 96. A lot's happened in our world in 20 years. So while it's still a great product, it's old, it's aged. The Pinnacle product was where we were going. We had just started developing a new product, and it was where we were going. And we've done several, major releases since then to really bring it up state of the art. That was our product moving forward. We've been through several migrations, acquisitions since then. But in 2013, we developed Calero. We were seeing in the industry there was kind of a gap in technology and customer experience. And, we felt like we did a lot of that well. And we found a few other companies that VeriSmart and Movero, you might have heard of those, that were also very good at that. So we joined forces to try to provide a best of the best. We want to provide you with the best technology possible, the best customer experience possible, and that's all wrapped in our analytics. Adam will get in and show you that in a few minutes, but our analytics are well beyond the reporting and dashboards that you're used to. It allows you to really dig in and use your data to make better business decisions. So just a few quick facts about us. We've got over 3,000 customers. On our expense management side, auditing invoices from your carriers and so forth. We currently manage over $7 billion in spend, $500 million in bill pay. So we've got a real large footprint there. We manage mobile devices. We're currently managing over 500,000 mobile devices. We work with over 1,700 different carriers in over 50 countries. So anytime you have a new carrier that you may onboard, chances are really, really good that we already have experience with it. If not, we have enough that we can easily bring it on board. And something we're really proud of is we have a 98% renewal rate. That's, says a lot for our team. So, and our customer experience, we focus on lean processes. Or does Emory utilize a lot of lean and Six Sigma and that type of thing? I think it's probably pretty big here. So the lean process, what it is, it's a process that was started out of Japan years ago with Motorola. And the purpose of it is to streamline, eliminate waste in your processes so things are repeatable, documented. You can expect the same results every time. We use that in our engineering, in our implementations. So it's, again, predictable. Technology, single integrated configurable platform. Everything's in a single database. You choose the options you want to use. You can add things later if there's things you don't need now but want to add later. The configurable platform is pretty important for you guys. I know a lot of you, Jason, quit laughing. How many of you were involved in the last MySoft upgrade? So CompCo did a really good job with Empower. It allowed you to basically do anything you wanted with the software, which is wonderful until you go to upgrade, and the people who did all that are no longer here. I think you had 185 clone screens, I believe, something like that. Yeah. Pinnacle is, we will do customizations, but it is configurable. There's a lot that you can do to make it your own without changing the base code. So that means when you go to upgrade, you can do it very easily. We give you the room to make it yourself, make it your own, but we got guardrails up so you don't run yourself off in the ditch. Recognized as by Gardner, a TIM leader, expense management, and then 25% year-over-year growth. And what that means to you is we're continually growing from new customers, so that gives us the resources to do things in the product, to improve it, continually keep it up to date, to add new features and functionality. Go back one just a second. The options we give you in the RFP were for an on-premise and a hosted. If the hosted is something, that you're interested in going with, a lot of certifications here, very secure application. We host some of the largest government and financial institutions in the country. So, we can meet all the requirements that you may have around security. And just, a few of our clients, we're across all industries, small and large. The solution is scalable for, the smallest customers up to, huge customers across all different industries. Any questions so far? Or okay. So again, the software is modular, so you pick and choose what you want. You can add on later. Service lifecycle management. Everything you do is about providing service to your customers. So everything in the software is built around that service. From the service, you manage your utilization and usage. That used to be call records. Now it's everything, your data, voice, mobile, license, tracking your software license, tracking cloud usage. We have customers that track printer usage and charge it back. So, tracking all that, your charge back for one-time charges, recurring charges, allocating to GLs or printing bills, not printing bills, you don't do that anymore, publishing bills to a web portal where your customers can access them. Your carrier expenses if you want to do the expense management. in-stock inventory, deployed assets, tracking all the different information that's associated with those. Your infrastructure, tracking your cabling, as it was called in Microsoft. Service desk, work orders, trouble tickets. We fully integrate with ServiceNow. I believe ServiceNow is what you're currently, I know you used Remedy for a while, then went to ServiceNow. Fully integrated with ServiceNow, we can do real-time bi-directional integration with that. So ticket comes into ServiceNow, can automatically create a ticket in Pinnacle and then send the information back and forth. We do use web services and APIs for the real-time integration. We can work with things other than ServiceNow, your financial systems and things like that as well. Integrate with, we manage mobile devices. We can integrate with your switches to automatically program the switches or do audits. Again, all this is wrapped in our analytics so that you get reporting on everything, not just bits and pieces. You don't have to merge systems together to get full reports.
Okay, yay! The functionality that you're mentioning, is that available in both on-premise and cloud? Like, if there's ever a difference when you're running through things to say, well, in the cloud it may be like this, make sure you call that out if you could for us.
So the only difference in on-premise and cloud is you're hitting your server instead of ours. It's to your customers. They're not going to know the difference. You're hitting a URL.
It's a service offering change. It's not a technology change. It's the same technology no matter.
There's nothing we'll show you that you can do in one account. And again, just works within your ecosystem. We do integrations, like we said, collecting data from your PBXs, sending information back and forth with carriers, sending information with your APs.
Think of this as kind of external to Emory, and then this is kind of your guys' internal systems here. That's kind of why we have it broken up, right, left here.
Working with your HR system, bringing in information about new employees to populate your system. Again, your ITSM, your ServiceNow, integrating with that. So we know that we cannot be everything, but we play well with others.
Are those integrations just true development work? Is it kind of point and click configurable?
It depends. So, when we're talking this side of the house, we've got a couple of options. So AP, our most common integration that we see with that system is really a flat file exchange through an SFTP server. So integration is a loose term there. We're exchanging data. When we get into ITSM, so we're getting into kind of ServiceNow, AirWatch for mobility, that sort of thing. We see a lot of customers moving to the RESTful API, real-time integration back and forth. So we're not sending files back and forth every day, but we're actually doing a real-time, bi-directional communication there. So.
You guys typically built that, or is it something our team typically takes on?
So when you're going to do a real-time API integration, Pinnacle comes with standard APIs that we publish, and we know ServiceNow's API very well, a couple of other systems that we work with well. So at that point, it becomes a mapping configuration exercise between our side and your side. In ServiceNow, I have this field. What does this field map to within this software here? So there's not development work per se as far as getting an API set up. There is connectivity work that has to be done to get them talking to each other.
Yeah, so if you have resources that can do that, they can certainly do it. If not, we can do it for you. And Adam also mentioned, the integration term loosely, imports, exports. Of course, you can do all kinds of imports and exports in the system. The pervasive or data junction, whatever version you have, is no longer needed. That is all internal to our system.
We certainly have customers who want to utilize API for everything, but when it's transactional type data, just for the level of effort to get it working, get it set up, and ease of use, transactional data is sometimes easier to just send a file back and forth, where ticket management, that sort of thing makes more sense in the API realm.
It's not a question. It's just I think English comes up as a topic a little later this afternoon.
Okay.
Is that correct?
It does, yeah.
So I'm not losing my chance if I don't ask right.
No, you're not. We'll get into a little bit more in detail later.
And of course, on that thought too, anytime after we're gone, if you have questions, I think Eddie and I have already talked about, we can set up another call so to make sure things answered.
So before we get into program management here, which is kind of our first official section on the agenda, any questions on kind of the overview of Calero, who we are, what we've become? I know we've been doing business with you guys for quite some time as, a different organization, a couple different organizations. We've really only grown, but a lot of the faces are still the same. We've kind of put a bunch of technology and people together to make a bigger organization. Questions? Okay. There we go.
So when we start working with you to implement, the first thing we're going to do is define what does success look like. We don't want to get halfway down the pathway and find out that what we're doing is not what you wanted. So we have business consultants that will come out here and spend 3, 4, 5 days with you, sitting down, talking to different people, defining exactly what you need. Like I said, what does success look like to you? Throughout the process, we will continue to work and revisit that to make sure that we're on track and, continuously improving, the process as we go to ensure that in the end, when it's live, you have something you're proud of, something you're happy that you purchased from us.
This is where that lean concept kind of comes in that Dina talked about earlier. If you're not familiar, it's really how we implement for our customers. So it's a model of, what do you want, what works for you, create a process that works for you, and deliver along the way. So we're not kind of figuring out what you want, disappearing for 4 months, coming back and handing you over something and say, here you go test it. But we're working together along the way to build this thing out and get it the way that you guys need to see it.
Along that line, if we say we do it this way, and you're like, we actually develop this and think this is going to be better, do you point that stuff out?
Yes. So part of the business consultant's job is, to be a consultant for you, to guide you on best practices. We will talk about what you're doing. They will say, well, other customers have found this works better. And then together you'll decide what direction you want to take. So we're not going to come in and just dictate, you have to do this, but we're going to try to lead you in the best path possible.
And the seeds of those discussions will probably happen here over the next couple of days. That's kind of why I'm here, so that when we get in and getting some of these questions, I can kind of explain a little bit about that, at least at a high level. And then if you guys choose to move forward, that would be a much more in-depth type of thing that gets worked on during implementation.
Yes, so when we start looking at, on that point, when we start looking at the actual product, you'll see me taking a lot of notes. That's so at the end, if you do choose to go with us, I've got a lot of good information to start the team off with. So again, you've got 2 different teams that will work with you from the beginning, business consultant and project manager. You'll have 2 dedicated people assigned, and then they can bring in other people, engineers and programmers as needed throughout the process. You'll also have a client success manager, which is first falls under Randy's team. That is more of your executive level contact. They are the person that, of course, if you need them to escalate something, they're there. But they're there to work with you from here on out, to discuss with you what they're seeing in the industry and just kind of help you move forward and keep you on the right path with the product. Okay, so any more questions before we get in and start looking? I think we
Just one over there, Dina.
Just curious about how the client management role and the product management role work together on your side. along with communicating issues back to the customer. So do you both communicate, or how does that
I'll take this one, Dana.
information get lost?
Yeah. So client success manager and project manager. So you said the difference. So the project manager is there to make sure that your guys' implementation goes smoothly. They're really trained and focused on getting customers up and running, whether it be new customers, customers migrating from a former provider or a former piece of technology to us. They eventually roll off. Once the implementation is done, you guys are in production. They stay on for a 30-day or so kind of post-production role just to make sure that things are going smoothly. They'll eventually roll off and take on other project implementations moving forward. The customer success manager is different. They're with you for the entire life of the relationship. So you'll be introduced to them when implementation starts, though they won't be maybe joining every single implementation meeting. They'll know what's going on throughout the implementation. And then once production goes live, the official kind of handoff to them as your account manager, if you will, happens there. And then they become your guys' kind of single point of contact for things like escalations, issues, dissatisfactions, congratulations if they're in order, things like that. So we have a full support model internally in production that if you guys have, minor ticket request issues, things that you have questions on, we have a help desk. I'm sure that you're utilizing that today, same type of thing, but the customer success manager is there to oversee all of that for you. Correct. Correct.
I think this is the right time to talk about this, so I'll go ahead and ask. Can you talk a little bit about in your in your hosted environment, what your development cycles look like as far as releases and bug fixes versus minor fixes, testing cycles, and all that kind of stuff in hosted?
Sure. So that question gets asked a lot, and there are some minor differences. So we try to do 2 major releases per year. And a major release would be, I'm not sure what version of my soft you're on now. Anyone know?
Old.
Oh, right. Okay, right. So anyway, so Pinnacle right now is on version 7.2. Okay. So it's 7.2.x. So X means it could be 7.2.1, 7.2.2. Those are minor releases that are patch fixes for folks who have upgraded, maybe found something that is not in our software yet. We will fix that, build a 7.2.1 release, which come out every 2 to 4 weeks depending on sprint cycles. We'll release 7.3 at the end of this year, and then next year will be 7.4 and 7.5, if you will. So we do 2 major releases with minor releases in there. Anytime a minor release goes out, which has bug fixes in it, our whole customer base is notified, whether you're hosted, whether you're in on-premise. Perhaps we made a fix that you guys weren't experiencing or means nothing to Emory. You don't have to do anything. Perhaps we made a fix that helps you guys. You can then go ahead and either with our help in a hosted environment, we would do that upgrade for you, or in a premise environment, you guys can perform the upgrade yourself with us kind of there supporting with email, call, questions, that kind of thing. We do like to keep all of our customer base within 18 months of the latest release that's out there. So say you upgraded tomorrow, technically you don't have to do anything for 18 months, but after about 14 months, we're going to start contacting you and say, hey, we haven't heard from you for a while. You're kind of on an outdated version. We'd like to work with you to see if we can get you guys up to the latest release. Helps in a couple of fronts. Easier for us to support you guys. Easier for you guys to get support from us. And you're utilizing some of the latest and greatest features that we have out there. So upgrades within the Pinnacle platform are a lot more straightforward and easier, I will say, than any MySoft upgrades that you guys may have gone through. Part of the reason for that is because of that configuration versus customization discussion that we had. Pinnacle can be configured to make it your guys' own without changing base code. Where MySoft, every change that you guys wanted from the off-the-shelf software, was essentially a customization to your guys' environment. Ability is still there. It is one of our last options that we go to when a customer comes to us with a problem or gee, it would be great if your software could do this. We will make every possible attempt to use the base product and configure the system in a way to have it bring the value to you that you're looking for without customizing your solution. If we have to customize, we have to customize, in which case we know what customizations are out there because we create a customization profile for every single customer that we do this work for. So we can reference back to that when it comes to upgrade time, or it comes to a unique ticket or problem that has been submitted to our help desk that we've never seen before. We need to understand what's different about your environment than everyone else's, why you're seeing something that no one else is. It helps us along those fronts. So that's what that kind of looks like.
Yeah, so a couple of points on that. He mentioned that in the hosted, we would do the upgrade for you. We're not going to just send you an email and say, tomorrow afternoon we're upgrading.
Yeah, it's coordinated.
We will work with you to coordinate times that work for you to do that upgrade.
If we're in a hosted environment and only want to commit to one of those upgrades a year, is that doable?
Yeah, you can opt out.
You can. So the 18-month cadence is somewhat of a new thing for Calero that we've kind of tried to roll out to our customer base. We would never say at 18 months if you guys had a great business case why you needed to stay where you were and couldn't go anywhere. We would certainly work with you and understand that that's understandable. Right? It's really just more, think of the 80-20 rule. We really want to get as many folks within 18 months of our last release as possible.
And again, we're doing that work for you, so you're not having to use your resources.
Right.
I don't think it's one of the resources. I just think that I wanted to see what flexibility you had around the 2 upgrades a year instead of having to spool up and be ready for those. Committed to one a year.
No, you
You
don't have to take the releases as they come out. We release new major software twice a year, and we release new minor software every 2 weeks.
Do you release that to a test environment, the major release?
Oh yeah, yeah. Internally, it's all tested. So the release that will go out to our customers, we're internally testing 3 minor releases ahead of what's going out to customers. So if 7.2.4 was announced tomorrow is available, we're already testing 7.2.7 internally, making sure that it's.
But do you push those into a user's test environment
No.
so that they can test?
Nope. We have them internally on our systems, testing internally. When we make the release and it goes out to the customer base and they come to us and say, hey, we're interested in this, the process is to upgrade the test environment first, whether it's us doing it, whether it's you guys doing it. It's coordinated. Test environment gets upgraded first. All user acceptance testing is done in the test environment. Sorry, first step is to take what you have in production and copy it onto your test, load new software, upgrade, test, and then once you guys are happy, only then do we move to the production environment and do that. And that can be supported in a off business hour format as well. Nights, weekends, if it was troublesome to have that. No. Yep. No. It's your own.
It's your environment.
It's yours. Yes.
And it's ahead of time. You'll get release notes that tell you all the changes that are made. So you can review that and see, is this something that's important to me? Nothing affects me. I'm not going to go with it. So
yeah.
And I know you've been looking at the MySoft replacement since 2010 when we merged with Pinnacle. I'm sure you've talked to other customers. I'm making assumptions here that you've heard how terrible the Pinnacle upgrades are. They used to be. We used to develop for a year and put everything in one upgrade. And finally, no, that doesn't work. That's why we went to the minor ones that go out every few weeks. So it is a very simple upgrade. And again, I just, the elephant in the room, you've probably heard that. I just want to let you know it's not that way anymore.
Yeah. We're turning them around in about a month, guys. So, say we started one today. We would, copy your test and your production on your test today, install the software, give you guys 2 weeks to kind of go through a test program. We have our own testing UAT documents that we can give you. You guys can make up your own tests. During those 2 weeks, you guys kind of let us know what you found, what you saw, we fix them. And then the second half of the month would be, okay, let's go ahead and put it on production now. And let's do that testing again. And then we're really closing out the upgrade project by May 31st. and we're done. Oh, two.
So I've got a couple of implementation questions, and so I don't have to touch this microphone again. I'm going to lay them all out, even though they're not related to each other. The first one is in terms of implementation, if you could describe a little bit what the data migration, data conversion process looks like. And then number two is, you spoke to it a little bit earlier, but I just would love a little more detail to be clear in my head what the support model looks like during conversion and then post-conversion.
Sure, yeah. Do we have a section on data migration in the agenda? I don't want to go too into it if we have a full section on it.
Okay.
There is.
Okay. So are you good with that?
So we'll hold that till then. On the support side, I can answer that for you, because that's, well, is that part of the migration process, or do we want to talk about that now? Yeah, it won't take long. Yeah. So support, we kind of touched on a little bit before. So as you're going through implementation, you have your implementation project manager, who's your main contact for any issues that you have. Usually we have customers have a project manager on their end managing it, so that these two folks are kind of managing both wheels turning here at the same time. We provide a business consultant who's kind of your business process expert, who's in there offering best practice recommendations and is also there to resolve any concerns, questions that you have during implementation. Maybe we built something for you, handed it to you to look at. Gee, I really don't like that. I want it to work this way. No problem. We'll go back. We will rework it. Look at it that way. The PM is really there to make sure that everything stays on schedule. The consultant is there to work with your end users, subject matter experts, to make sure that the system is set up the way that they want it to. And we have a variety of technical staff on the back end who you may not be dealing with every single meeting, but will be coming in and out to build some of the technical configurations that you guys need, integrations, that sort of thing. Any problems during implementation are all routed through the project manager. Escalations can still go through the customer success manager, who's your overall account manager for the whole thing. Once you move into production, we have a standard help desk that can be reached via telephone, via email. It's staffed 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern time, as well as folks are monitoring emails throughout the night if they happen to be. I don't know of any emergencies that have come in at 3 in the morning at a lot of our customers who work 8 to 5. We do have SLAs around those resolve times. I can tell you that through 2017, we turned 80% of the help desk tickets that came into our help desk within 24 hours. So you submit at 3 o'clock today, me a problem, by 3 o'clock tomorrow, 80% of the stuff that you've submitted has already been resolved back to you, and you guys are off and running back and working. The other 20% are usually some of the more complex issues that come in, larger problems that just require more folks on our end to get involved. So, from that sense, our turnaround time, I think, is pretty good. Our support desk is tiered, so you'll call in and you'll get a tier 1 support person. They handle some of the easier turnaround stuff, password resets, that sort of thing, and it goes up from there: tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, depending on the complexity of the issue that has come in. We'll talk to data migration when we get there. Okay, cool.
And as far as what the implementation looks like, as I said, you'll have a team that comes out and spends several days here. Then when we actually start looking at it, depending on where you are in the process, the consultant may have 2 or 3 working sessions set up a week where they're actually working with different people on your team to get the work done, to get you set up. Again, it depends on your time, the resources you have available, where you are in the project. Then once a week, they typically do just a quick 30-minute review. The project managers come in with it just to discuss what's been done this week, where we are on the implementation. Then once a month, we do like a 10 or 15-minute executive level call where we would bring in, Steve or somebody like that, to make sure that the executive level understands exactly what's going on in the process. So everyone's kept up to date. All our project managers are PMP certified. So everybody is kept informed all along the way. Nothing's done kind of in the dark.
So it's kind of moving back a little bit, but what do you define as a minor release? What do you define as a major release?
Yeah, so a major release generally introduces new functionality, where a minor release is a fixed release. So major release 7.2 came out, released to our customer base, starts getting used. We start collecting help desk information around version 7.2. Customers are finding this, seeing this. We are able to separate those between, user or configuration errors, which are solvable by our help desk on the phone usually, or this is a true engineering bug that, made it through testing somehow, got out into the field, at which case we'll release 7.2.1, which will have bug fixes in it for our customers to take 7.2.2, 7.2.3. So you generally won't see new functionality come in until 7.3 now. So 7.2 is the new functionality, and then the minor releases fix the issues that are found out in the field.
Do you also take customer feedback from those fixes?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, the customers are really the ones driving those fixes. They're the ones where the information starts. So we have our own product roadmap, which has heavy, heavy influence from our customer base.
Last but not least, what's the background of your business consultants? What do they specialize in? Based on your customer, or are they academic? Have they supported academic?
They're business process engineers. So business process engineers within the telecom management space.
Right, but if you send some to me and they've never been to an academic institution before, how do you?
Yep. Well, in that particular example, academic institutions make up a very, very large slice of the pie of our business, but I understand what you're saying.
Our business consultants, I think the newest one's been with us.
3 years, yeah.
We've got some, George Blue, you may know some of you from MySoft. He's one of our business consultants who's been doing this for 20 years. But a lot of our business consultants, like the one I just mentioned a couple years ago, she came from a university. We would never send a newbie out here. The first year or so, they are kind of going behind someone else and working with someone else, so they thoroughly understand it. If they don't have the background, which I say if they don't have the background, I don't know that we have any.
It's generally within our company. It's generally a promotional position. You joined Calero doing something else and worked your way up into this position. Uh-huh. Yep. Yeah.
They have all been with us for a very long time and have the background.
Yeah, let me give you a little example of that. So if you hire an outside IT consulting firm, these guys are IT consultants and know the IT space, maybe don't necessarily know the business process space that you guys are working on. Our consultants work for us. We're not hiring this out. They're consultants on our staff who work just in the space of our software and the organizations that are implementing it. So very focused business, expertise, that sort of thing in that space, not a general IT consultant. Sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, guys. This south pollen is bothering me too down here. I'm from the cold north. Yeah. So a MySoft migration project, which we do quite a bit of, really starts with the understanding of what you guys have in MySoft today. Some customers say, MySoft is the greatest thing. My data in there is perfect. I want you to replicate what I do in MySoft in Pinnacle. Others say, we've let it get out of hand. The MySoft data hasn't been maintained in years. I don't even know what's in there anymore. Let's just start fresh. Most of the time we get something in the middle. So the process really starts with the business consultant coming in and working with you guys to understand, show me what you're doing today. What's good? What's not good? What data sets do you feel comfortable with? What do you think is out of date? not usable anymore. Because we don't just want to simply move a problem from one location to another. That gives you guys no value. So I would say the first, so upon contract signature, we do project kickoff within the week, and then we try to schedule an on-site within the following 2 weeks of that. So things move quickly so that we're not wasting time. So probably within that first month between signature and the end of the month, we have our kind of plan laid out of what we're going to utilize from Microsoft, what we're going to take from it, and what we're going to build out on our own or use a different data set for. From there, we move it in a hierarchical manner. So Pinnacle is based on a hierarchy of data. We call them levels, and it goes all the way from level 100 to level 1600. So if you have a level 1600 item, you can't get that into the system until you have all 15 relationships underneath it built in. So we start with the 100 level items. Those are things like your service inventory, your locations, your people, subscribers, that sort of thing. And I know that the Microsoft terminology is a little different. So Gina, can you correlate what a subscriber in Pinnacle is and a service is to what's in Microsoft?
User I is
okay.
Subscriber. So the user in, service number. Equipment record is the inventory item.
Okay.
And I know a lot of customers come to me and say, okay, after 8 years, do you not have a script that takes myself? No, that can't be done. We tried, but as you know, Microsoft is very customizable. So
yeah.
What you have doesn't look anything like what this customer has or what this customer has. So there's no way to say, here it is, move it over. That's again what the business consultants will do. They'll come in and work with you to see how you have it set up. Because I mean, even within the basic setup, people use different things for their user records. Just all the user-defined fields and things like that, which Pinnacle has user-defined fields. But no two customers, and we've moved probably 60 over, no two customers have ever been exactly the same. So even though we've tried to create the scripts, we have some basic things, but it's not possible to have one that works for everybody. So again, the business consultant will work with you to map out, okay, this in Microsoft relates to this in Pinnacle, and move it over that.
Once that agreement has been made about what it does and where it needs to move, then what happens next? And like by that I mean who's doing what?
We are. Calero is. Okay. So you guys, think of the work as kind of flip-flopping during implementation. You guys are really guiding us on what to do, right? So we're there to offer best practices to understand what you guys are doing. Once you guys sign off or are happy with a particular data set or a business process, we then take that, go and build it, get the data in for you, build it for you. And then we hand it over you to test. So, if you think of it like building a house, we're gonna build the basement, and before we lay the first floorboard, we're gonna go through the basement and make sure that everything is good. Because once you lay something on top of it, very difficult to now come back and redo that. So Pinnacle is a very hierarchical database. It's on Oracle version 12. So we're very careful along the way to make sure that things are right before we move on to the next. Does that make sense? Okay.
You don't necessarily need all 2,500 years of Microsoft data in there, but what is there a way for us to bring in data, legacy data, so we can view it? We don't need to put it into the live system, but we might want to refer to something.
So I think the main thing we would want to see, and for all the MySoft work orders, because we have a lot of the attachments authorizing billing, like, yes, you can start billing on this port. So we'd want to both see that, and then I'm also kind of wondering, like, if we do bring over the work orders, would they just tie into the new system's work orders, or would they kind of just live in their own area where we can still somehow see them?
So this one is a question that actually comes up a lot, and we've kind of tackled it a couple of different ways. So let me talk to you a little bit about a couple of the options there. So if you guys want them still available, just to reference should you need them, but you don't necessarily want them in your guys' live production system, as you said back there. Are you guys planning on turning down the MySoft server? Because you guys own the software. You guys could leave that up for as long as you'd like and keep it for a data reference point, and we can just, okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So. Yep. Right. Right. So okay. Yeah. So work orders are something that a lot of our customers want history of. So my answer to that has been to them, and what we've done in the past is we've moved work order summary information over from one database to another. So you know who did it, what happened, when it happened, and things like that. But we're not bringing over all of the interrelationships that our work orders within Pinnacle reach out to. So anytime that you do a work order in Pinnacle, right. So attachments are stored as what are called blobs within our Oracle database. I am not sure how they're stored in the MySoft database, but we have moved attachments before as well. Right. So the only issue that we've encountered and it really depends on how the customer has named their attachments, because we need some sort of relationship from the attachment name to the work order, so that we know, because the work order summary goes in first, and then we got this whole list of attachments. How do we know what goes where? So there has to be some sort of relational information, whether it's a naming convention, the first 5 digits of the attachment or the ticket number, something like that, so that we know what goes where. Mm-hmm.
So I'll make that as a note to kind of look into.
Wait, so is the file stored externally and you're just marking a location in MySoft where to find it? Yeah, the database just has a location. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. That's fine. I thought you were actually storing the attachment within the database itself. Okay.
In Pinnacle, you can actually attach,
it right to the work order. Okay, yeah, then my answer is absolutely. So we would have to go through and understand, this is truly summary information, legacy number, what happened, what was the user ID or service number, when, that kind of thing. We recommend only moving closed work orders, so we would recommend a point in time that you're going to cut off and move over. You still finish out the open work orders in MySoft. Once everything is closed, then we would perform the migration. So any new work order as a go live date, submit through the new system.
Speaking of the go live date, would you aim for like fiscal year? Is that something that's done often? Can it be done? Or like if it does have to be in the middle of the year, how would that process look?
Yep, so let me give you the answer to that. So let me give you the general answer to that, and then I'll kind of qualify that with some text. In general, these projects take from signature to go live anywhere from 4 to 6 months. 4 months for an engaged customer who's really working with us well, joining all the meetings, comes prepared, has information. 6 months for the customer who's kind of leaning on us a bit more to do some things where we're having to draw information out of the customer a lot more. We're kind of spending time doing that. Customers who are completely unprepared, I've seen it go longer than that. I've seen rockstar customers get it done sooner than that. So in general, that's the kind of time frame I would keep in mind. 4 to 6 months from signature to go live.
Like, how do you handle that if it doesn't fall around fiscal year end?
That's under your guys' control, I think, right? I mean, yeah. I mean, if you guys, you know, if you guys signed tomorrow and said, I want to get started, but we're going to have a blackout month, you know, September, because it's a new fiscal year, or August, or a lot of universities black out in December, that's fine. We can handle that. Just the overall project time, lead time is going to be longer. The actual work time is not, because we're not doing anything for a month or two. We prefer to do them straight through, but have accommodated blackout periods if that's a necessary thing. We don't require any boundary.
Well, that was going to be my next question. Is there specific reasons why you would want it?
Well, and I think to John's point, and Celeste, you would pretty much weigh in on this. Saying that you're going to go live on September the 1st is, you know, that's 364 reasons to not have it go work, you know, and be 1 day off or 2 days off, a month off. The thing is if you don't go live, you're obviously going to run the systems in parallel for a period of time to check them out. I would assume that part of their implementation process.
If the customer would like, yes.
Yes. That's okay. So that would be something that we'd want to talk about. But also, if we've done 9 months in the old system and are running parallel for 3 months, how would you capture month-end data from the 9 months previous and marry it to the 3 months in the new system? Does that make sense?
So you want to get a full fiscal year's worth of data within one system out of only 3 months of
Right.
use.
If we do have a go live that's in the middle of March, say, you would have the old month-end data closings. How do you capture that data and marry it up in the new system to month-end closing?
So that would be an interesting year at Emory accounting, because it would the data sets for that year would come from really 2 separate systems. Potentially, yeah, potentially. So
how would you guys handle that situation? Or have you ever?
Well, I don't. We're not running billing out of the new system though until. I guess I'm not understanding. I mean, this sounds like an Emory. Yeah, maybe.
A little bit different, maybe. But when you talked about the migration, you said, so we only move over closed work orders.
Yeah.
So if we convert March 15th, all the closed stuff at that point is in Pinnacle. The open work orders are in MySoft.
Okay.
On March 31, when we run our billing for that month, do the work orders that were previously open in MySoft eventually get moved over and we run from one billing system? Or are your customers running billing in that conversion month from 2 systems? And then, am I getting to your question? And then moving forward, if I want to look at my bill from February, I'm pulling from MySoft somehow, some way internally. Our customers are looking at that because that hasn't come over.
Correct.
And I think that's the reason for our fiscal year, our interest in.
So when do you guys actually run your billing during the month? Because maybe the cutover date makes sense to do it on the billing month cutover.
And I don't necessarily think we have to get too far into the weeds on this, but I think you've outlined enough for us to consider going forward. But we typically run month end as of effective date of the 26th, 27th, something like that.
Sure. Randy, do you want to chime in on this one?
So I get the work order and the transfer process, but is there any other fiscal issue to having the systems transverse fiscal year? In other words, the end result of both of them is we're going to feed information to your general ledger system, whatever your financial system is. We'll mirror that, so it'll be the same in either one. So is there any other accounting reason that would be of a concern for this transversing a year?
Right.
That answered my question. That's what I think.
Yep.
Um, I'll go back tonight and see if I can get in touch with
Yeah.
George or Shane or somebody like that and see how other customers have handled it,
Yeah.
and then we can bring it back with that.
Yeah, we
And
could
I'll
even
make a note of that.
we could even hook them up with another customer who's done the same thing if you guys
Ex-
wanted. And
yeah.
we have reference customers who you guys can certainly utilize. You know, if you have concerns on some of the question or answers that we've given or questions on it, no better source than someone who's done it already. What else about implementation, program management, and that here? Anything? Hey, Eddie, what was next on the agenda?
On the agenda, it's actually at 2:15, so we'll probably do a 15-minute break. The next thing is reporting and analytics.
Cool. Okay.
So